Going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new and exciting episode of the Viall Files Freestyle Edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by Amanda in studio. Allie is at her home because apparently she got the vid again, one more time.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
I know.
Embarrassing.
Meanwhile, Amanda and I can't get it. Like,
You haven't had it once?
doesn't like us.
Oh, wow.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Just knock on wood. We're
going to give each other COVID.
Does knock on wood work for COVID? That's the new vax. Just knocking on wood. You're like, oh, I'm going to be
The
fine.
CDC is now saying people who knock on wood are allowed to not wear masks.
The gentleman you hear is my dear friend, Nick Lehmann.
Hello.
Welcome, Nick.
Thank you so much for having me.
I found Nick.
Discovered
Nick on Twitter, I think.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I have a lot of annoying tweets. I'm sure
some
they're
of
out
your,
there.
Pandemic content.
Yes.
And then Nally and I ran into you at a
Paul Smith event?
Yeah.
And we became fast friends.
Yeah. Nally and you became fast friends. and then I invited you on my podcast. We recorded an entire episode.
It was probably the best episode.
It was
Fire.
It was amazing. And for the first time ever, it turns out someone wasn't recording. And we lost an entire episode.
It was a very complicated audio issue that had to do with like a national company that should be reliable.
The simple explanation is someone forgot to press record.
That red button.
It's not true.
Maybe I was just speaking too fast, and they were like, "We can't do this. This has to go."
But the
It
real
accidentally
truth
ended
is-
up in the trash.
AI came to life and was like,
Yeah.
not today.
We were like, I don't know. We think we need a warm up.
Yeah. We'll have him back another time.
So Nick is with us.
Hello.
Welcome, Nick.
Thank you for having me.
Where should we start? Where do we want to
Should
start?
we start with some Bachelor tea?
Let's get it over with.
Let's do it.
Let's do
Let's
it.
get it over with.
We obviously have the premiere coming up. For those of you who don't know, July 11th.
Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars for the premiere and a subsequent recap.
If we're viewing this in like a Catholic lens, we're nearing the end of ordinary time.
There you go.
We're going to
We are
begin a
nearing
new
the end of
liturgical
ordinary
season.
time.
See, God
Yeah.
always gets a shout out.
And Lent is
that guy.
Lent
God's
is
always a
upon
guest
us.
on the Viall
He's
Files.
always here. He's always being recorded. That's for sure.
We're in the
Some
dark
sad
days of
news.
Bachelor. Sad news,
To
yes.
start us off, Nayte and Michelle have broken up. And on Friday, she posted to her Instagram story. She said that having a relationship in the public eye has not been easy. I'm struggling to say that Nayte and I will be going our separate ways, but I stand with him in knowing the heaviness that is present in both of our hearts, as this relationship has been very real for us. To you, Nayte, you quickly became my best friend. Whoa, friend. And the love I have for you is incredibly strong. I will never stop wanting to see you succeed. Blah, 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 blah. I'm deeply hurting and will need time and space to work through this heartbreak. Are we surprised? Did we think they would make it? What happens to the 200 grand for their house now? I have many questions.
I know Michelle and Nate have some deeply passionate fans. We suggested that it's like their independent relationship when it comes to the history of Bachelor Nation doesn't have a good track record, but maybe they're different. Maybe they're different. And the passionate Michelle and Nate fans did not appreciate that take. So
Did you get a lot of DMs?
I know, but
Some scaries coming out of the woodwork.
I saw one comment was like, "What's wrong with this guy?" I was like, "Oh, probably a lot." But like, I don't-
there's a list, but not about this.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Listen, it sucks. I mean, like having gone through what they've gone through, it's not fun. I mean, there is a lot of pressure, and the reality is that when you break up with someone publicly, there's a lot of fears that you have. There's the loss of the relationship that you're dealing with it, which I'm sure is real. And then there's the fear of like, how does this affect your time on the show? What people are going to think of you now? And people can be critical of like, is that superficial or is that important? But like, whatever, like it's a human thing. I think Michelle is going to be more than fine. I think she'll be thriving especially as it relates to her, Bachelor Nation.
Do you think if she would have chosen Brandon at the end,
I hate that
would they
question.
still be together?
I mean, I don't hate that question from you, Allie. You have to ask the question, but I think it's an unfair question. I don't. No. Most likely, like, the lead only really likes one person.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that as a 2-time runner-up. I'm sure she liked Brandon. I think she probably respected Brandon. I think there was some chemistry there. But I think the overwhelming majority of the time, the runner-up was never their person. And I don't suspect Michelle reaching out to Brandon. And Brandon's on Paradise, I think, right now. Spoiler alert, I think. So I think he's going to be fine. Them working out had nothing to do with her not picking Brandon or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, listen, they're always a big leap of faith.
Maybe Joe with the basketball scenario that you pointed out.
I don't think Joe either. Yeah.
Years down the line.
Yeah, well, there was that one time I wanted them to get together, but I don't think that's
You disagree?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, now she's single, so anything could happen.
Have you ever had like a really nasty breakup that like instilled you with a sense of shame?
Yes, definitely. That like we couldn't work through it, or why aren't we working through it? And I think it's like usually a mismatch, and down the line you realize that it was never going to work out. But in those moments, that shame and I can't believe we weren't able to do this, and what's wrong with me, what's wrong with them, that internal battle is pretty ugly. But then it's always nice getting to that point where you're like, oh my God, absolutely not. Yeah.
I wonder if we'll ever hear the real story about like Nayte and Michelle, because they kept things pretty private. We didn't really see much of them. And I'm curious if we'll ever hear who ended it, who broke up with who, what was it really about? Did they ever really feel like it had a chance? It's entirely possible that like it just, by the time the show ended, it just, you never really could get into a groove of the relationship. Or maybe I wouldn't be surprised if we never find out though.
Yeah, they keep it tight, like locked lips.
And I do think there's a mutual respect that they have for each other. And if they have that, I don't see Michelle saying anything. And usually the guys don't, because it never goes over.
I feel like there's like also a culture now, especially on TikTok, of public figures who feel the need to like go into the full details of the story. And I feel like it's always better to just be surface level about it, because when it is like specific, you did this, he did this is what happened January 23rd, this is what went down, blah, 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 blah. It's a little bit like,
never goes well.
I am not your therapist.
But there's also like a part with like reality TV personalities where things slow down and you're not getting as many interviews, and all of a sudden you're like, anyone hear me talk shit? Yeah. And all of a sudden you get a little of attention. So there's a little bit of that. I don't suspect that you're going to see that from Michelle, but our hearts go out to both of them.
Some exes that have previously been very closed down about their breakup, we finally have some sort of statement / comment from Zach. He's really been very, very quiet after his breakup with Tayshia. Not a lot of details were shared. But recently, Tayshia shared some beach photos, some bikini photos on her Instagram, and some like random troll account basically commented and said, I think you need to get over yourself. Remember when you dated Zach Clark and didn't constantly post selfies and boobs and bikinis of yourself? Yeah, get back to that, honey, because nobody cares at how fancy you think you are. You're still a girl from a reality show with a guy who cheated on you.
Who cheated on her? Well,
he's implying that Zach did.
Oh.
So Zach actually commented back on Tayshia's post, and he said, congrats, you got me. My first and hopefully last clap back. Enough is enough. One of the problems with social media is it gives people like you a voice and unwarranted power. The truth is, we see this shit. I see this shit. It is hard to avoid and is just not nice, especially when you have no idea what you are talking about / you just make shit up. I struggle to see why you would be mean for no reason. Being kind is so much easier. So Tayshia, F the noise and keep doing your thing. Wear the clothes you want to wear, take the videos you want to take, and keep shining. I know you, and I know you to be a really good person.
That's great.
Good for Zach. Yeah.
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 So like, where is the line, do you think, of where you just kind of like do hands off, we're not together anymore? Or like what caused Zach to respond to this? Because I doubt this is the first time someone's dragged either of them in the comments.
I mean, maybe it's because they accused him of being a cheater. There's that maybe that.
The personal element.
I mean, listen, if you have a cordial relationship with your ex and you have an opportunity to defend an ex, great look.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he seems like a Prince Charming swooping in here. It's also like, oh my God, like I'm good and we're good. It's very visually, it looks very.
And
nice.
I've never met Zach, but I've heard good things about him, and he seems to be like a really mature, level-headed person that, despite like however he might even feel about it, you know, because maybe it's just sadness. Maybe he just feels sadness over the breakup. I have no, or maybe I have no fucking clue. Maybe they're like just like happy to be independent and have mutual respect. But well, they're both single, right? So as long as you're both single. Like, I think if the other person's in a relationship, you just kind of bow out.
Yeah,
you don't need to be like defending them, because then it kind of almost becomes like a weird thing.
Yeah.
But
If I was in a relationship with him and I was his girlfriend, I'd be like, what's going on here?
Hello?
Why don't you leave comments like this on my posts? You know, something like that.
Have you either of you ever had situations where an ex has been present in a purely platonic way, but while you had a current partner?
What do you mean?
Had like a situation where you've had a friendship with an ex and your partner at the time didn't feel comfortable with it or felt weird about it.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially and then I feel like it always spirals into, because it's like a self-consciousness thing where then ex walks away, partner's like, I didn't like the way that went. I'm like, well, he was standing there, so I wasn't gonna ignore him. But
yeah, it's tough at first because you're just like. Also, is there a history? You know, like I've had a couple women friends that like we became friends after we hooked up, and like truly became platonic friends. Then it's like, hey, this is my so and so, and then there's always that question of like, listen, all I need to know is, did you fuck? You know, like I only have one question: did you fuck? Yes. Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Like. Maybe don't have lunch with them.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Or vice versa, right? And listen, I think that's always there's some awkwardness. Or some people just get a bad read from people.
Definitely, but when you are the person who has the new partner and then the ex comes up, that feels good.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm so glad you're doing well, but I'm doing really well.
Yeah, have you met so-and-so?
Yeah.
My sparkling wonderful.
Yeah, it's just a random man who actually has no idea who I am. I'm just like, this is the love of my life.
He's like, I do not know you, sir.
Yeah.
So your sister is using Peloton to get ready for her wedding.
She is indeed.
Amazing. What's her favorite class?
Well, she likes to do the like strength training videos because she runs outside, but she wanted to also supplement it with strength. And the nice part is there's a range of times because sometimes, I mean, she's a doctor, she's running around. Sometimes she has an hour and sometimes she has 15 minutes. So she can always find one to fit into her schedule.
And for those of you listening, you're thinking, what? Strength training? Peloton? I thought it's just a bicycle. No, Peloton has so much more. They have their amazing bikes, like their Peloton Bike Plus. They have their amazing treadmill. They have boxing, so many different types of exercises, bar classes, boxing, free weights, yoga, all different types of stuff. Also, their Peloton Bike Plus is now $500 less. It's the best price yet. It includes free delivery and setup. Nothing gets you moving like a perfect song, and every Peloton class is set to a bomb playlist. So whatever the mood you're in, whether it's EDM or maybe it's Beyonce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing motivates
really,
you like
they
that.
have something for everyone. And the best part is instructors are motivational and they're an expert in their respective fields, highly trained fitness pros, and it's interactive. You can compete. You can do this with friends across the world, across the country. So even though you can work out from the comfort of your home, it doesn't feel like you're working out alone. That's what I love about it. So right now is the perfect time to try out Peloton. The Peloton Bike Plus, like I said, is now $500 less. It's the best price yet, including free delivery and setup, and there are more game-changing prices available on the original Peloton bike and Peloton Thread. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. So if you are an open book.
I would identify as an open book.
And you like to earn points so you can buy more stuff, do I have something fun for you? It's called Fetch. And if it sounds too good to be true, well, turns out it isn't. Fetch Rewards is super easy to use. It's a free app where you can earn free rewards on literally anything you buy.
Anything.
Scan any receipt or e-receipt and you will earn points no matter where you shop or what you buy. Then redeem those points for hundreds of rewards, including Amazon and Visa gift cards. Fetch is totally free, a free app and easy to use.
So basically, you take a photo of your receipt for stuff you've already bought,
Like anything.
money you've already spent,
Literally anything.
and then it compiles into points so that you can get more money.
From restaurants, e-receipts, Amazon gift cards, many of your favorite retail stores. You can scan receipts, redeem your points. You just scan it on the app. It's super easy to use. It's incredible. Check out the link in the description. Use the code VIALL and get additional 3,000 points when you scan your first receipt. Download the app now and use the code VIALL to get 3,000 points when you scan your first receipt. This is a limited time offer for my viewers only.
The last thing is that Andy Dorfman has made a statement or was asked about the upcoming season of The Bachelorette. And she's not a huge fan of the fact that there's 2 bachelorettes. She said, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't bummed that it's 2 women. I'd like to see 2 men go at it. I don't know. It gives me a little sexist vibe that I don't really love. I know all these bachelorette leads and what it takes to be on screen and to hold your own on a show and production and castmates. I have a lot of respect for those people, so I think I will show my support in that way. She made her point while it's
Do we
still
think
being
it's
very
sexist?
eloquent.
2 bachelorettes?
I think it's really about the execution.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought the Caitlyn and Britt thing was like appalling. Like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You found a way to take away the power of the bachelorettes by like making them like
Vote.
Yeah, like have to like get the approval of the men. Like, that's insane given the whole premise of the show is that everybody is vying for the bachelorette's approval. So I think it depends on the execution of it.
Do you think, would you like to see 2 bachelors? And if so, would you like to see the women vote?
I mean, for drama?
Yeah, I was
yes.
gonna say I'd be down for that. I think you're right about the execution though. If it's like,
I think it'd be fun.
I think that would be that would be great. And I also like give the women the power. I'm down for that situation, absolutely. But I think having like men vote against 2 women and like I don't ever like the idea of pitting 2 women against each other. Feels a little messy, but maybe it'll work out. I'm sure
I'm
there
down
will
for
be
2
some drama.
bachelors one of these seasons.
Should we do it? I'll go on with a bunch of guys. You go on with a bunch of girls. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Could be fun. Switch it up.
Could be really fun,
Yeah,
honestly.
why
What a
not?
house dynamic.
Yeah.
But I do think that, I mean, the show is, I think they're aware of that hurdle. And like we said, I think they've told Rachel and Gabby that they have to be best friends. So they'll oversell that.
Have to.
You
I
like
think
each other.
Yeah.
Also hard because whoever is picked as the lead, whether it's a bachelor or bachelorette, it's usually because America is so invested in them finding love. And in a way, maybe we felt like their journey was cut short or there's something that they're really missing. So to go from, rooting so hard for someone to a Caitlyn and a Britt situation where suddenly one of them is voted off, it's like a weird, wait, we were just supporting you and wanted you to find love. And now we've kicked you off night 1.
Well, and I will say, to Andy's point, like Rachel and Gabby, it's like they both had these compelling stories. They were 2 great picks, so they picked them both. But as a result of having to share the role, like their screen time is drastically reduced. Like I really don't know. I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to watch the show as compelling as it might be and as interesting as it might be, and by the end feel like we don't really know anything about either of the relationships that they end up with, because there's just too much.
And it begs the question, how much will they prioritize drama? Because I think that's always a line of discussion is like, they're not showing enough of the love stories. They're just showing like bullshit in the house. And so how will they strike that balance when they have even more content to display?
I hope they prioritize the drama, if I'm being honest. I don't know.
Is it the same amount of guys?
I think they have like a few more guys, like 35 instead of 30.
Yeah, because if I'm going against someone, I'm like, I want a couple more options.
Please.
Yeah.
Moving on from Bachelor, Amber Heard's still chatting. She's still talking, so we're still talking about her. Did you watch the interview?
Her most recent interview, I did not. I've seen clips and headlines, but the way that I kind of feel about it is it's over.
I just don't know why she keeps going.
Yeah, I think she keeps going because she wants.
It's not going well.
No, I that's also what I'm confused about, because every time it goes out, then more and more people disagree, are horrible, leave awful comments. I feel like you just kind of wanted to go away.
And then she just keeps saying things that like don't add up. There was this clip where she was asked about the video recording of you know, she's like, well, she was in the interview. It's like, well, I only reacted. That's when I hit him. And then the transcript was read to her. She's like, well, you admitted to starting it. And then she said how like, well, you know, it seems like she's always seems like she's talking in like talking points, like bullet points. And then she like, for a moment, like changed it. And she said like, well, people who are abused, they don't have like privilege like you or I. And immediately, like, it sounded like weird. Like she removed herself from talking about victims. And that part was actually edited out of the actual interview. It was in the clip. So even her team caught it. And it's just like a bad look. And it's just like it's like when your lawyer tells you to stop talking, they tell you to stop talking for a reason. And she just keeps incriminating herself more and more. I don't know why she keeps going.
It's also just upsetting because I feel like the conversation and the relationship with other victims of abuse, then it makes it even more murky, and it takes away, you know, not that nothing happened to her, but I feel like it just takes the highlight away from what's important in the discussion. And that is where I have an issue, because there are so many in the discussion of privilege. You have a national platform. So many women and men can't even come out and have this conversation or go to anyone that they can trust with it. It's very messy, and I feel like it should be done. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why she said she was going to stop doing it. But you're right. She's like, and that's the one. She keeps reinforcing this idea that because of this verdict that other women won't be believed. And I just don't feel like that's a positive message to keep reinforcing.
No, she's basically coming out and saying, don't tell your story. In a flipped kind of
and like
way.
in a way to garner sympathy for her story, she's basically scaring people to believe that people won't believe their story,
which is the opposite of why she said she did it in the first place. So that's where I just am confused and frustrated.
It feels reminiscent of like a gambler who keeps losing and is sort of like double or nothing. Yeah. And I get like, I don't know if people were like hated me to the degree that they have like showed so much vitriol for her. I guess I understand the instinct of continually trying to be like, no, but I'll fix it. I'll fix it.
But when's the last time?
Yeah.
When are you done? When it's like, because she's heard everything. I don't know. It's just beating a dead horse, I think.
Totally.
There was this quote for her interview, the interview with Savannah Guthrie, and they were talking about when Camille Vasquez said that she described Heard's testimony as the performance of a lifetime. And then Amber told Savannah, quote, says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. I'm the performer.
But that's the thing.
Did people really think he had scissors for fingers?
No.
Wait, so she's saying because he was in Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's like for the man who was a pirate?
Yeah, for the man whose career is in acting. Yeah, that he is an he is an actor. That is true.
As is she, though.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm confused about.
Yeah.
That you're both pointing scissor hands at each other, you know?
But yeah, and then she keeps talking about, she was quoting the Greeks when talking about free speech and, you know.
It's all over the map. It's so much. I mean,
but like I said this last couple of weeks, but like I understand like Johnny Depp is a popular person, and I understand like he has money and influence, but there was a period of time where no one believed him. It wasn't like they all believed Amber, and it was because of this trial that shifted, not because of his power and influence. You know, she keeps saying, well, I spoke truth to power, and I'm like, but no, it was because you got caught on tape admitting to hitting him and mocking him and calling him a baby. I think the big takeaway is like, yeah, it's just like, I think everyone just says, I think no matter what, everyone's just being like, stop.
Right.
Whatever side you're on, even if you're on her side, they're probably suggesting she stops talking. I don't think it's doing any good for anyone at this point.
No.
What else we got?
I don't know if you listen to Drake.
Oh.
His new Drake album.
I heard.
Oh, wait.
Do you like it?
Okay, so I'm not huge into Drake, but my roommate put it on for me the other day, and I was like, this album is for the girls and the gays. It's like very disco, like ga 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 ga, and I was like, am I a Drake fan now? I like, you could throw that on the club and I'd shake my ass, like, for sure.
I heard one song. I thought it was okay, but I feel like a lot of the reactions haven't been super positive.
It's because it's for the girls.
For the girls and the gays.
People go like that. I don't know. I have not listened to it all. I've only listened to a couple songs, but for those, I was like, okay, Drake, I kind of like this. I did see a TikTok comment. Someone was like, he made the soundtrack to Wii Sports. That's what they were calling.
Oh my God.
some
Like
of
the
his
do,
songs.
do, do,
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
do, do, do.
Exactly. Yeah, that one. But
Can I ask you guys, would you rather have to listen to the same album for the rest of your life or never be able to listen to like the same song again? Like constantly you just have to listen to new music. You can't go back to ones you love.
Oh, I would do the one album, but that's because I have an obsessive personality. And
That's
I'm
a good one,
psychopath.
though. I'm more like Nick,
What
your
album would
be?
it be?
Yeah.
but it'd be tough.
Because you want it to have like range. You know, you got to have a cry song. You got to have a
Kings
shake
of
your ass
Leon
song.
had a really good album.
That's so
I would
surprising to me.
do Beyonce self-titled, which by the way, her
know.
single comes out tonight at midnight.
Actually,
if you are listening.
it drops when this podcast drops. So we
Oh
are
my God.
competing with Beyonce's podcast.
I'm so sorry.
We're the underdog.
I might have to listen to hers first. I'm so
That's
sorry. But no, I'm very excited. It's been 6 years.
It has been a while.
2016 was Lemonade,
What
and
did
I
he-
do not count her album with Jay-Z, and Black is King is great, but this is her solo album. She's back. Renaissance.
Lemonade was really good.
Lemonade was great.
I also feel like Beyonce was she was like the Bacon of performers in the sense that everybody was obsessed with her. Like the degree.
Bacon of performers.
You know how everybody used to be like bacon,
Yeah.
and there was like avocado. Like
Yeah.
there's like a food that people will like go to bat for. Like I feel like Beyonce was like lauded universally as like she is like the top.
She's untouchable.
She's completely untouchable.
And I think she's coming back, and she's coming for all of our necks, and it's going to be amazing. She's still
Beehive
working on
is coming
I'm
out.
so excited. July 29th, Renaissance. I'm just a Beyonce walking ad.
Is she like performing somewhere, tour?
I'm sure she'll go on tour. It's been a long time, and she's done a lot in between, but none of it has been a solo album. And I've been like, come on, like let's go. So I'm very, very excited.
Give me like your top 5 Beyonce.
Oh God.
songs.
Partition.
oh my God, yes.
I Care. 6 Inch. This is hard. This is too difficult of a question. Those are 3 really, really good ones.
I feel like Countdown.
Countdown's good.
You didn't like.
No, I
you
do. It's just like
disagree.
a lot of the singles. I'm like, these are great, but it's like the album 4 is really underrated. No one really listens to it, but it's a fantastic piece of work. I really love Beyonce. I think that's the message here.
You have not
You're
seen.
glowing.
Yeah. So no, I'm very excited.
But like speaking of girls and gays, like I have not witnessed more like joy from a crowd than when it's Love on Top is played. It's like, baby, it's you.
Everyone knows the song.
That's a sing-along.
Yeah, she. It's also like I'm excited for some Gen Zers to get some new Beyonce in their life. I feel like they don't really have a relationship with her.
When I think of kind of Gen Z music,
Yeah.
I always think of Doja Cat first.
And like Lizzo, and just people who are like present in the public eye right now. And Beyonce is very good at going away for a very long time and then just really coming in strong.
Oh my God. It's like the Princess Diaries quote, a queen is never late. Everyone else is just early.
That's what I'm always saying.
Elton John, legendary music performer, but it wasn't always legendary for dear Sir Elton John.
How can I hear more about this tumultuous life?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Allie.
She's
Even the
back.
rich is now focusing their attention on the wonderful, the legendary Sir Elton John.
Thank God, it's been time.
In an all-new season, hosts Brooke and Aricia tell the story of Elton John. Before he was a global superstar, Elton was an awkward English boy from a fractured home looking for an escape. From Wondery, even the rich Elton John, still standing, unveils how music transformed Elton into an icon that rocked the world through style and song. In an all-new season, the host unpack Elton's life journey from misunderstood, neglected child into a spoiled rock superstar with addiction issues, looking beyond the chart-topping hits and glamorous lifestyle. He's an icon, and so much to learn about Elton John, and Even the Rich is pulling back the curtains like never before. Listen to Even the Rich on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcast. Or listen ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app.
Speaking of Princess Diaries, Julie Andrews said that she wouldn't do like a third Princess Diaries movie. She said it's too far removed. So I was
We're really
wondering.
getting away from my expertise here.
Oh no, I was wondering.
This is your fault. You have me on.
You're outnumbered.
Is there a movie that maybe either has one or two that you think deserves a sequel or a third?
That's hard because I feel like nowadays,
They're awful afterwards.
yeah. I mean, Top Gun crushed it with Top Gun too.
I would do a Charlie's Angels reboot with Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, and Drew Barrymore. That's because they did it was just Full Throttle, and then they did another one recently. No, I would do that one.
Mine is like not the girl with the dragon tattoo with
Rooney Mara.
Yeah, that was an amazing movie. And there's other stories which they've been done. There's like a European version. They just didn't make it with Daniel Craig and Rooney Mara.
Yeah, and they were going to, but then they scrapped it. Like Spiders, the girl in the Spider's Nest, the girl who played with fire.
And like I really love the girl with the dragon tattoo.
And the books
and I
are
love
amazing.
Daniel Craig. And so
that's a good one.
I was always waiting for that one to come out, and they just didn't.
Rooney, if you're listening,
Please.
we want a sequel.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
I feel like She's the Man holds a
Is
special
that the
place.
Amanda Bynes one?
Yes.
And she could have a redemption arc.
And
That's
it's
a
a
good one.
12th night. It's like a play on 12th night. And so I feel like you could pick a different Shakespeare play, like Midsummer Night's Dream, get funky with it. Channing Tatum at his absolute hottest.
Oh, yeah.
He peaked for me. Magic Mike my ass. She's the man, Channing Tatum.
Yeah. He's pretty hot in that movie.
He was very hot. I paused a lot just to like be like, play, rewind, pause,
All right, so let's talk about Airbnb because Airbnb has been sparked a lot of discourse on Twitter after someone shared a post saying, in the interest of my own personal safety as well as public safety at Airbnb help, can you please explain this to me, everyone else, why the host who sent me this message is still actively on your platform? This person is clearly a threat and should not be allowed to host guests, and attach a screenshot of a message that said, I have your picture, your name, and your number. You have 48 hours to remove your review, or I'm hiring a private investigator to obtain your address. And then the fun begins. And then a follow-up text, you're blocked from messaging me at this number. And then this has sparked a lot of people sharing negative, a whole range of like, obviously this is a terrifying real threat to safety experience. Other people are sharing that, but also people are just kind of sharing like the weird bad things that have happened at Airbnb. I'm curious, do we have Airbnb users in the house?
I definitely, and I've seen a lot of the responses and stuff, and a lot of people putting up pictures of like all the cameras that people hide in their homes to watch people while they're in them, which I think Airbnb, it's difficult for Airbnb because they probably have thousands and thousands, but I mean, they have to have a better customer support team who is looking out for the
it's
safety
tough
of-
because I feel like a lot of people who want to Airbnb their house, like it probably started with people like trying to make an extra buck. It's like, oh, we're going out of town, so we'll Airbnb our house.
Right.
But they do that with a sense of like fear of letting strangers in the house. So what do? They buy all these like cheap cameras.
Right.
Which is a weird invasion.
I feel like if you're going to do that, don't have people in
Don't
your
have
home.
Airbnb.
Yeah. And also, if you're terrified that your home is going to get ruined, don't host. Yeah, I understand. I mean, it would suck. That would be awful. But if you're going to cross those lines, maybe just kind of sit out on this one.
But Airbnb, like if Airbnb kind of put out a statement being like, hey, like if like us, if we were Airbnb and be like, hey guys, like listen, if you can't like have a couple strangers in your house, like don't do it. How much inventory would they lose? Probably a lot. Yeah. Because like, there's plenty of people who are like, will buy houses just to Airbnb it. But I bet a great deal of their inventory are people who are incrementally or like occasionally renting it out.
And they can't have a vetting process for who is staying and who's not. I mean, I know some people who have been permanently banned from Airbnb for like even small issues. So I guess they're good on that. But I also
banned
think
from going or banned from hosting.
Going. I'm sure there are people banned from hosting. I can imagine. But I think they also have to flip that on the hosts and how are they like what kind of like look into if people are complaining or I mean the camera thing. If I knew that I was staying on an Airbnb and was being recorded, I'd raise hell.
Yeah, terrifyingly creepy. I also feel like back when I stayed there like in 2015 or something. I remember the host reviewing you, and it felt like it was more of an attempt to have that like mutual vetting.
Mm-hmm.
And now it
it's
seems
just like you click it.
Yeah, and now it feels like an Uber situation where it's like 4 stars or 5 stars or bust, because that's what some people are saying in defense of Airbnb hosts who are kind of pressuring people to leave positive reviews, is they're saying apparently you get kicked off the platform if it's below 4.5 stars. So it's kind of like a two-sided.
See, that's stupid of Airbnb to do that. It's so arbitrary, 4.5 or bust. You know, it's just like there's got to be a more productive way of ensuring like a good stay.
Have you stayed at any really amazing Airbnbs ever? Or
amazing?
Weird?
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine have all been pleasant.
Yeah, on the regular, like they work a lot, but it is interesting when you go to an Airbnb. It's a house that was just made to be an Airbnb. The shower is awful. There's like nothing, like you open the fridge, the handle falls off. But no, I've had some really pleasant experiences, and I once went to an Airbnb and I walked in and someone else was in it. They double booked. I was like, well,
what happened?
we're married. No, luckily it was a company that had other places, and they gave us another one and gave us some money back. But it was weird because I had the key. I opened the door and there was like a couple standing there. Just like, hi, I'm here to kill you. No.
They probably thought that.
Oh yeah, they were like, what are you doing here? I was like, no, what are you doing here? Yeah, it's fun. Then I had to leave.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the online review situation is like a hot mess because it's like all these things, they're well-intentioned. You know, like you hear this horror story, that needs to be talked about. You need that discourse. And then eventually you're going to get the person who like, you know, does a TikTok about like, I had an Airbnb and let me tell you, it was terrible. Like there was one roll of toilet paper in the entire house and I couldn't like, they'll like.
It was 700,000 likes.
Yeah. And they'll like lose their mind over like a mild inconvenience, you know, 2 stars.
Well, it's the same how it is on like any platform with reviews like Yelp or anything. You'll just see people post an essay. I'm like, stop giving people this much room to write about, you know, the crudité.
Yeah.
It's fascinating though. Sometimes I follow individual reviewers and see what else they've commented on.
Oh my God.
I construct a narrative.
Oh no, there are people.
Okay.
Yeah, if you find someone who leaves a really long review of like 1 star, very specific things,
you can get their
you can go to their
history?
profile, and a lot of the time it's like 700 reviews. They go to every restaurant and rip on it, which is good for the platform to then be like, okay, I don't know this person, but some people write novels. I'm like, you're an incredible writer.
Where do you find the time?
I know.
Yeah.
This is an outlet for you. This is
Well, I'm
part
like,
of your
where do you
self-care.
find the time? And then I'm reading them for like 10 hours.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, will I be probably continuing to stay in Airbnbs? Definitely.
I plan on hosting.
Oh, you're going to become an Airbnb?
Yeah.
He's going to become Airbnb.
He is
Cameras all over the place.
Yeah. If anything, he's learning exactly what he needs to do for his new property.
He's like send me screenshots of that.
Yeah.
And they'll make a new movie with no one knows that they're in.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Terrifying.
Found footage.
Yeah.
Wait, that would be a really good horror movie.
Okay, guys, you don't give away this idea to
know.
the public. Write it down.
Write it down, put it in an envelope, send it to the
Yeah.
Okay, for another topic, do we want to talk about daughters on OnlyFans or never having an orgasm?
Why can't they be the same thing?
Daughters on OnlyFans for 400, please.
This actor who starred in 2.5 Men has a quote where, so Sammy, daughter of Charlie Sheen, Denise Richards' daughter, is on OnlyFans. Charlie Sheen.
Is this on the cusp of her, like she had just turned 18, right? Like, is that part of the story too?
Yeah, she's like,
Freshly
it was,
18.
and definitely like his response to it was very much when he said, I do not condone this, but since I'm unable to prevent it, I urge her to keep it classy, creative, and not sacrifice her integrity. Like kind of like I'm just relinquishing reigns as a parent who is able to like assert control.
And so
and Denise came out more in support, kind of, I don't get what the big deal is. I support my daughter.
she also said, I'm not allowed to control what she does, and if that's what she wants to do.
Yeah, and then she referenced like obviously her time posing for Playboy or doing in the movie Wild Things where there was a nude sex scene. I don't know. Like it's got from a parent standpoint, what do you like? It's like, oh yeah, you can't do anything. And then you have these progressive parents. I assume they're progressive. And then you have specifically Charlie Sheen. He has a complicated history of his problematic past.
Yes.
How do you...
Well, it's a little hypocritical, I think we could say.
That's that question. Like, so if you're a parent, you've certainly have made mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you lose the right to become a parent because of your mistakes? I mean, you could argue that as a parent, you're like, all I ever want for my kid is to not do the things I've done. So it's like, sure, I guess hypocritical, but at the same time, you know, I feel like Charlie, his quote was as well as you could have said, which is like, I wouldn't want this for my daughter, but I guess.
Well, yeah, he's completely out of control. He doesn't. I mean, and also if he were to try to like make it stop, I don't know. You know, I don't know the Sheen family, but I think, you know, she's allowed to do what she wants. It's her life. It's her wallet. It's her body. But obviously, you know,
we've all done things at 18 that we regret.
Oh, absolutely. And as a proud father of 4, I could understand why that would be, you know, distressing and uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, I guess it's kind of like, it's your life. So. Well,
it's also, I heard the term digital natives, which refers to people who, when they were born, the internet was a thing and grew up using social media and just have always kind of understood the landscape. And I think it's especially hard as a parent when this wasn't even an option before. And you have the way Denise Richards, where she's like, you know, this is kind of like a modern iteration of all these other behavior that has existed versus, I think, Charlie Sheen. I'm sure there's a certain amount of like kind of fear of the partially known.
Do we even know that she plans on doing any type of pornographic content?
I don't know, because not everyone on
OnlyFans is. Right. Like, maybe it's just her. It could be a variety of things.
She's also. I mean, for her now, she's in the public eye. This is going viral. I imagine her subscriber count is skyrocketing because of it.
Yeah, she could easily post. Maybe the most seductive thing could be bikini,
right?
Like, and that's it. And she'd still probably make a ton of money.
People will pay for that.
If you were going to have a non-sexual OnlyFans account, what would you do on it?
I'd review condiments. I love condiments. I'm a condiment queen. Yeah.
What's
so maybe
your
just like
condiment.
Ketchup. I know it's
basic.
Very basic, but I don't shy away from any type of condiment.
I've had a theory that like when growing up, there was always like one ketchup kid
that was
in
me.
Your group. That had ketchup on everything.
I was,
and I think that says a lot about
who I was.
People.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Did your mom cut your crust?
My crust? Sometimes she had to spoon feed me yogurt because I couldn't keep it down. Like, I was that kid, and I also always had a ketchup stain in the middle of my shirt because I would take too much ketchup and it would always drop on.
They're like a specific, like the ketchup kids are a specific type of kid.
My brother was one. Still is.
I maybe even worse.
You were not a ketchup kid.
You were a mustard kid?
I was a mustard kid.
Oh, yeah.
It says a lot about me.
I love mustard now, but if I like the idea of mustard as a kid was so disgusting to me. But I also think maybe that means that you were like mature.
Oh, that's what I like to think. I tell myself it means I have like a
sophistication,
a refined palate of like.
Whereas ketchup, it was like you're bottom of the barrel.
Slop.
Yeah, exactly.
Red slop. Well, with mustard, are you a Dijon or just like kind of classic yellow?
Yellow.
Yeah, I'm a Dijon.
See, again, now because of my OnlyFans, I don't shy away from any type of mustard. I'll try any mustard. You got Dijon, you got honey mustard, any of that. But I do agree with you. Like, I was the ketchup kid with like pit stains and cargo shorts, and you know, everyone laughed at what I said, not because of what I was saying, but because of how I looked, you know?
Yeah.
So, but, and I wear that as a badge of honor. I can't wait to have ketchup later today.
Ketchup kids are an army, though. Like, they're not, there's a lot of ketchup kids.
Rise up, ketchup kids.
Yeah, if you are out there and you are a ketchup kid.
Like, you could not leave home without ketchup.
Yeah.
You had to have ketchup.
I had a bottle of ketchup in my locker in high school.
You're a ketchup kid.
And we had ketchup in the cafeteria, but I still was like, you know, you just never know when you're going to need a bottle of ketchup.
Kind of like addict behavior, like hiding your bottle of vodka.
20% of my audience are probably like, I was the ketchup kid.
Yeah.
They were, it's a...
I had the shirt that said, I put ketchup on my ketchup.
How do we feel about relish?
Love.
Yeah.
But only dill.
I'm down. I'm down for it. And that's another thing. As a kid, I was so picky. So the ketchup
That's
fixed everything.
Usually the ketchup kids
are picky eaters.
Because it's like you got your chicken nuggets, you got your fries, your pizza, your pasta, and your peanut butter and jellies, and your ketchup.
We are profiling ketchup kids.
Yeah, I feel good about this. I feel like I haven't been able to really talk about this, and my therapist just doesn't understand it, but you do.
I do. Yeah.
Well, when you were
My brother
mentioning,
Luke is a ketchup kid.
I'm sure I'd love him.
He's now a dentist.
Oh, a win for the ketchup kids.
Well, I was going to ask, when you mentioned like kids laughing more at you than with you, was there a time where that definitively shifted in your social life, or where you kind of just found a better fit in terms of your group?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like it was just because it was like class clown, always like falling over for laughs, that kind of thing. And then I was like, I'm gonna shift this personality a bit and take care of myself a bit more. But then, it wasn't like a bullying situation, but the ketchup kid, everyone was like, oh, there he goes. There's the funny guy. And then there's the mustard guy who like head of the soccer, team and
ran track in college.
Yeah, exactly.
The mustard, I have this like PTSD moment where I was like in first or second grade and I got mustard all over my sweatshirt and my dad was really mad at me. And he really shamed me, and he was like, "You're gonna wear that the whole party." And I just had a big yellow mustard stain. I have a great father, but like that might not have been his best parenting.
That's hardcore.
Oh, my parents always because I would always get the ketchup stain, and they'd be like, "Yeah, you're wearing that the rest of the day."
Yeah.
Actions have consequences.
Yeah, they do,
and some of them are visible.
And they were delicious.
I gotta say though, like that, I think that's probably a fairly toxic parenting trait that was pretty popular.
Sit in your shame.
Sit in your shame, where it's just like a 6-year-old dripped ketchup or mustard on their shirt. Like maybe we just let them change.
Yeah, like you would never make a kid sit in there like if they had an accident. You would never. I guess that's different, and that's really sad to even think about. So I'm sorry for saying it.
Much different, like.
No, but I do remember then.
I remember this moment.
Yeah, and I do remember too with my dad. Like if he would then spill something on himself, I was like, "Gotcha." And I was like, "You're wearing that the rest of the day. You are not allowed to change."
I'm sure he responded well.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Speaking of dads, it was Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
First of all, did people have any nice plans? Any specific way you tend to celebrate?
I like to text all my friends who are fathers Happy Father's Day.
It's always a nice thing to do.
Aww.
Yeah, it's a thing I do. And a lot of people who haven't heard from me in a while. Mm-hmm. Father's Day is like the 20th most popular holiday.
Yeah. After Flag Day.
After Flag Day.
It's like Arbor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is,
Yeah.
Love to the dads out there.
I love to send the text. I spent the whole day with my dad. It was lovely.
I had to call my dad.
I texted I also texted a lot of people who aren't dads. Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Just to get a rise out of people.
I did give my dad an early retirement though, so I felt like
that's good.
Like that's your Father's Day gift forever.
Yeah.
Also, grandfathers, calling the grandfathers. I call my grandfather.
I'm not good at that.
92.
I called my grandpa.
My grandfathers are dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other one is dead, so I just was like, "Hey,
thinking of you."
It's always dark though. Like now with social media, this was Mother's Day too.
Yeah,
it's like you get the TikToks of all like the people who don't appreciate Father's Day or it's like.
Well, yeah, there's the conversation of like sending love to people who don't have a relationship with their father, or their father's dead or whatever. But then there's some, oh my God, yeah, you're just scrolling through TikTok, you're laughing your ass off, and then you see this horrible one. I'm in tears and just I could throw my phone away.
It's like, okay,
yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
I love my dad.
I feel like I heard about some kind of meetup that was organized. I think it was on Mother's Day, for whether it was because you don't have a relationship with your mom or because you lost your mom or didn't have a mom to start with, like having some kind of like group chance, because I think it's
sweet.
So isolating on a family holiday, not having the place to go.
Yeah, can be tough.
It's a doozy. I was gonna ask, what quality of your dad do you think you have most prominently?
Oh God, so many.
Emotional? You're gonna be okay.
Like, yeah.
When I get emotional, my dad would always like touch the back of his neck, and I do that too.
That's cute.
I feel like as I've gotten older, you know, those like commercials, like growing up, like your parents commercials that are really funny. As I get older, like there are just like moments where like I'll do this, like I'll like turn my head or say it a certain way where I'll get this like kind of like deja vu feeling of like I'm my dad. You know, I feel like as I get older, I'm becoming more and more. I notice certain like idiosyncrasies that my dad has.
Yeah, I'm becoming my father, and I feel like the things that piss me off about my dad are the things that I do too. Like I'd say probably one of the main qualities. My dad will talk to a wall. He can talk to anyone. He speaks to every single waiter, every single like wants to know their whole situation. Blah blah blah. So we'll be at a meal. He'll talk to the waiter for like 45 minutes, not being nice, but we're like let him get back to his job. And I'm like, dude, stop. And then, the next night my friends are like, Nick, stop talking to the waiter. Like I'm doing the same exact thing that he does. But
yeah, it's really in our DNA for sure.
Totally.
He's a good man.
Shout out to dads. Actually, our office hours caller is here.
We don't want to talk about female orgasms first.
Nick is begging to talk about female orgasms.
Well, you did bring in me.
It was a good story.
The gay man, the expert in female orgasms.
I think maybe a neutral third party to
Cheryl,
really weigh in.
All I want for women is for them to
Cheryl
orgasm.
Burke is here to remind us that a lot of women do not climax during
penetration
during sex. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's okay.
It is okay, but I want her to. I want that for her. I want that for all my friends.
And I think it depends on why, though, because I think there's a why of like, she spoke about how her vulnerability and past trauma plays a really big role in that. And so I think there's one perspective where it's like, please don't put this pressure on me. Like please trust that I'm having a good time. I don't need to legitimize it in this way. I think conversely, it's like, I'm like, you better try.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I feel like what's the best way a woman could communicate to her male partner that it's a challenge for her while still expecting him to try, right? Because to your point, there's a difference between like, oh, listen, I can't like orgasm during penetration, and it's not like a green light for a guy to be like, okay, well, I guess I'll just do my thing and be done. Versus also while not, like as Cheryl Burke mentioned, not making it seem like always checking in, like, what does that mean you don't enjoy it? Because I think a lot of men could also like allow themselves to be emasculated by that. Be like, oh, well, am I doing something wrong? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'll do it. Like, I can make you come. Like I've met every girlfriend ever.
Yeah, no girl has ever had a problem with me before.
It's like they were faking it.
Exactly.
If you have that attitude, they were faking it.
Reenact that orgasm. So tell me how it sounded.
So,
well, I think it's similar to like ED, like erectile dysfunction in that way of like how it can be very easy sometimes for whoever a partner is to personalize it or take that.
I mean, I feel like you tell me if this would be helpful, but like saying to your partner, I'm just here to try whatever it is you want to try. I'm open to trying new things. If that doesn't work for you, what do you like? Just keep opening that space of and not.
That's lovely, but I don't feel like people say that.
No?
No.
I've said that.
Maybe in a relationship.
Yeah, but you're a good guy. There's a lot of bad guys out there. I feel like the nice thing to do here would be to be like, yeah, I'm not having an orgasm from this. I would love to try different things.
Let's try a toy. Let's try before or like this time. What do you like? This night's about you. Or
it'd be nice for the man to listen to what like they want to do and then try those things out, because it shouldn't just be about the guy coming and being like, cool, good work.
Yeah, and I think something that's interesting is they've done a lot of data on the rates of women coming during sex with men versus sex with women or non-binary people, and it's like drastically different. Like the orgasm gap only exists specifically in this like hetero situation, which I think is kind of fascinating. And I'm sure it's because like it's more normalized to have like toys or accessories or just more open communication, I think.
Right. Well, yeah, it's probably one, like you said, I think some of it might be coming from trauma from men, that why women might not be able to experience that. There's that. And then two, like I think there's a lot of guys out there who either feel emasculated or defensive, and then like make not even a bad situation, like a situation where a woman can't orgasm through penetration even worse by making it about their feelings and their inability to like making it about them and understanding it's a bigger picture and some education around that, where I think partners of women might be a little bit more empathetic to that.
I feel like it's just, in general, if you're a man listening to this, listen to your lady.
Listen to her.
Listen to her. And it'll be more fun for you too in the end if she's enjoying herself.
Toys are great.
I mean, I've never been with a woman, but I imagine that that's the proper way to do it.
Right.
Yeah, there are so many options. There's toys.
Thank you, Cheryl Burke.
Yeah.
Thank you for starting this conversation. And also, women should not feel broken or weird or isolated, and they should watch Principles of Pleasure on Netflix or read Come As You Are.
All right.
Okay.
And Office Hours.
Office hours. How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
I'm Danielle and I'm 31 years old.
How can we help Danielle?
So I need help either drafting a text or maybe not drafting a text at all. Basically, I'll start from the beginning. My
What's
best
your
friend
What's
from
your
school,
goal if we draft a text? What would the goal of the text be?
The goal of the text would be just to establish what, like how to go forward basically in a friendship.
Friendship. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My best friend from school married another guy that we went to school with, and he's from the Midwest. And his best friend from the Midwest, his name is Matt, moved out here about like 5 years ago. And we've been good friends, for the past 5 years or so. And then about a year ago, they bought a house. And so we had a housewarming. Everyone had a lot to drink. And Matt and I made a marriage pact. And that was kind of like the first time I saw him as being like maybe something more than friends. We like discussed the fact that we both like didn't want kids. And it was like, oh, like I think we're on the same page with like what we want for our life. And, the years before one of us had always been in a relationship. Some months passed and we really are like the only two people that we know, I feel like, in our area who are both single. So we would always started doing this like weekly dinner thing where we would just talk about like our awful dating stories and things like that. And it was his idea. He initiated this, but like with time, it was basically like we were dating because every week we would just go out to drinks and talk about life and things like that, and just got to know each other better and better. And I like developed feelings for him. And our mutual friend who had introduced us, like always talked about the fact that like Matt had a crush on me and things like that. So it was just kind of in my head as being a possibility. So like 2 Sundays ago, so like just over 2 weeks ago, I finally like told him that I had feelings for him via text message, and he reciprocated. And then we met up 36 hours later or so, like 2 days later for drinks. And I showed up and he immediately was like, I don't think we should date. So feeling a little confused, and I kind of don't know how to go forward. He's texted me a few times since then, but I've never initiated a conversation. So just trying to figure out if I should text him, because I miss him, and just want to know how to go forward.
So what was the interaction like when you got together, other than
it was
awkward?
He was like shaking. He was so nervous, and I felt like I was like consoling him the entire time. Because he was like, I was walking over here and I felt like I was going to throw up. I was so nervous, blah, blah, blah. He started it off by saying like, you're fantastic and you're my favorite person, but. And then I just kind of like blacked out for a second because I thought I was showing up to our first date, like based on the text that, he had been sending me the night before, or like a day and a half before.
This first text I'm looking at, is that the one you sent him when you shot your shot?
Yeah.
Speaking of direct, I've had a little crush on you for months, but was too chicken to say anything. Also didn't want to interfere with things with because you were excited about it. But yeah, don't want to make things weird, but just wanted to put that out there with a little upside down smiley emoji.
Who's
Oh, he had been going on a couple dates with this other girl, and he seemed excited about it. So I didn't want it to be like him choosing me over another girl. I waited until he decided he wasn't interested in her anymore.
Then he replied back, "You've proved to be way more direct than me!" Exclamation point. You have to know I've felt the same way, right? I often think about what it would be like with you, but was always too chicken to put that out there. I get so weird about screwing up a good thing. Interesting response.
Yeah.
And then eventually you guys screwing up a good friendship, that is. Also, thanks for saying something. I was wondering if either of us were ever going to. And then you got together like a couple days later and he hit you with the, just kidding.
Yeah. There's more text in there, but it's basically the same thing where he's like, oh, like my head's spinning.
Had you guys ever hooked up before or been together before?
No, we've never even kissed. Okay. And we've like gotten very tipsy around each other like dozens of times.
How did things end the last time you guys got together?
The last time we got together was when he told me he didn't want to try things. So I drove him home afterwards. And we were like parked in front of his house and he said, we're still going to be best friends, right? And I like started getting teary and I was like, yeah, of course. And he was like, do you want to talk about it more? And I was just like, no. And kind of like ushered him out of my car.
So what do you think about the situation now? How are you feeling about it?
I miss him a lot. You know, we talk most days.
Him saying that he felt this way and then him wondering if either of you were going to ask is not a guy who is caught off guard. You know, I've had like platonic women friends that I wanted them to be platonic. I went out of my way to make sure they thought it was platonic. And I dreaded them ever like trying to like shoot their shot type of thing. And like that's not what I'm seeing from this guy.
Well, it's very flip-floppy from his he's saying he's absolutely down and into you too, and then coming to you and saying
that's why I'm so confused. So I don't know if I should like just go back to like being friends with him and like give it a couple months and bring it up again.
Listen, I'm just a big believer that it's like you can try to be friends with each other, but like you're never gonna like you're never gonna go back. And I always kind of like say, you know, like if you guys don't start dating each other, you know, he starts dating or someone else, and you meet a guy. And you guys are friends, it's going to come up like, what is this dynamic? You know, well, did you guys ever date? No, I like shot my shot and like he didn't. And like the person you meet or he meets is going to ask more questions. And also, you know, like you said, like part of you missing him is that comfort he brought. And while you weren't kissing and hooking up, he was feeling very much the type of like comfort a boyfriend would, right?
Yeah.
The regular dinners, the intimate conversations, the regularity and comfort. And when you meet a guy, if you meet a guy and it's not him, and you will meet a guy eventually if you don't date him, like this friendship will already like fade away, you know?
Yeah.
That's
what I was thinking.
Because
that's why like he doesn't want to date to like preserve this friendship. And in my mind, it's like, well, someday it's not going to exist, right? It has to evolve at some point.
Did he get into specifics about why, other than he doesn't think it's a good idea? I don't want to ruin the friendship is definitely not a valid excuse. Even if they believe it, it's bullshit. For the reasons I just explained, because it's going to end. It's already, once someone shoots their shot, it forever changes that relationship.
It's hard to go back.
I think scared, like he cited being scared of ruining the friendship, but also, so my best friend is married to his best friend. So like if something didn't work out between us, you know, like we've done trips together, like we've gone on vacations together and things like that. I think he's just scared of messing up that element too.
I think some tough love is required. You should just be honest with how you feel about the situation. I don't think you should try to go back to this friendship and pretend you didn't shoot your shot. Yeah. And in the nicest possible way, without emasculating him, as you kind of tell him to man up and just like, if he doesn't want to date you, he doesn't want to date you. That's fine.
Right.
If you don't want to
date the response,
but if like,
I would move on.
Right.
If you're too scared, like that's bullshit. Like
yeah.
We were never going to be able to preserve this dynamic forever. So like just get that out of your head. You know?
Yeah.
We just weren't. Like we've built this relationship, whatever this very unique relationship of us like comforting each other and going out to dinner and being this emotion. You've built an emotional connection with this man. which is a big part of relationships that people often don't build early on in dating. They build that physical connection. And you guys have built that. Like there's a level of emotional intimacy that you guys have and trust, and like you can like turn to each other and like open up to each other. That's hard to find anyone to do that, and you'd be able to do that. Like my ex-girlfriend and I, like we were best friends with my butt. Like they became best friends because we were dating. And then we both stood up in their wedding as like people who were broken up with. Like you're adults, you'll figure it out. Like you might not be going on trips together anymore, but like that was gonna eventually, like if you got a boyfriend and he got a girlfriend, there's a good chance his new girlfriend's going on this trip and not you. So like it's already affected. So trying to preserve something that's already not going to last is just silly. So and that's why I think you should stand your ground and just say, as far as our friendship goes, it will always mean something to me. Obviously, I've really enjoyed our time. I think you almost, in a way, like break up with him.
I think it requires the tough love.
Yeah. And you just say, but like, I feel how I feel. I care about you. It's worth the risk almost. And it's worth the risk because it's already never going to be the same. If you don't want to give this a shot, I respect that, but you're just going to have to deal with the fact that like we're no longer can go back to where we're at. And I'm not trying to force you into something you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
But you basically take away the thing he's afraid of ruining.
Should I do this via text or should I just like initiate like another get together?
I don't think you should do it via text. No.
Yeah.
Depends on your comfort level, but like a FaceTime at a minimum.
And also by at least seeing him and hearing his voice, you'll actually get his genuine reaction other than something that's crafted. And because I think what you need right now, especially if you are going to continue anyway with him, is honesty. And a lot of that is from what he's saying to you in the moment and the way that he's kind of, you getting to like see what.
Has he been trying to reach out to you to hang out?
Not to hang out, but yes, he's texted me a few times about like shows he told me to watch and sent me stuff on Instagram. Things like
that. I think you just stop replying to that.
Yeah.
That's what I would do first. At first, I would do nothing for a while. Don't tell him that you missed the friendship. Let him believe that you are adjusting just fine. You're doing your thing. And then eventually he will ask you, what's up? And when he does, then you could just say, then like you just call him or FaceTime him or get together and then just say like, it's just, I don't want to do that anymore. Like when you say you're confused, tell him you're confused and tell him why you're confused. And just say, like I just said, you have nothing to lose at this point. And you have to reinforce and remind him that he doesn't have anything to lose either. And be like, hey, no matter what, we'll always be cool and respectful. Like we may not hang out as much anymore and things might be different, but it's just how it is. And like, of course you're going to be friends with our friends and I will be friends with them too. But like, we might not. And if we get invited to like a party, we'll go and be cool. Like if you guys both start dating other people, you won't like not be able to hang out,
right?
But you won't be taking trips together and you won't be having like dinners together on a regular basis. And just see if he actually really is scared. And it is possible. What I'm saying is it's possible he needs to get out of his own way and his own bullshit. And that only happens when he is afraid of losing something. And then when he actually sees that he might have lost it is usually when they start coming around.
Yeah. And he very well could.
He could. It's possible with what he said.
But I agree. Take your time. Do you. Wait for him to come to you.
That's what I would do with this guy.
Okay. I was scared that was what you were going to say.
Why?
It's been like almost 2 weeks now. And
almost 2 weeks now since what?
Since the conversation.
Okay.
And he's reached out like 4 or 5 times since then. But like, I kind of do want to see him again, but I'll be patient.
Well, if you think enough time has passed where I just think it'd be good for him to bring it up.
Yeah, I think so too.
But there's nothing wrong if you just want to say that and see him. But what you can't do is try to do the thing he thinks you guys can and should do.
Yeah.
Which is to, basically use each other, not commit to one another. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the momentary highs for you are not going to be worth the way that you feel when you kind of step away and you're upset about it and you're not together.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good reminder.
I think you should also do a little bit of like, tell him exactly why you think you guys are a good couple.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think you should do more telling than convincing.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't want to talk him into wanting to be with me.
Yeah. You just tell him how you feel about you two.
Yeah.
And don't talk about his feelings. Just talk about your feelings.
Okay.
I feel this about you.
Yeah.
This is why I think we should give this a shot. This is why I don't think we're actually risking anything. And this is why I won't be able to do what we did anymore.
I like that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you both so much.
All right. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
I think there's a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's a shot too. Absolutely. Because I also think, from these text messages, it would be insane to basically say I feel the exact same way about you.
I was wondering if one of us would bring this up.
Yeah. It's not, by the way, because I've seen the other side of this where the guy's like, oh, like, I don't really know this or that. But this is.
Yeah, this wasn't the, listen, I think you're great and all, but
let's
like,
just stay friends.
Let's just stay friends. I think you're really cool.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to ruin a good thing.
Yeah.
That was not
what this is.
That's not what this is.
And then he kept bringing it back up. He kept being like, oh, I'm so glad you said this, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he freaked out.
Nick, you have a new show coming out.
I do. I wrote for a TV show that comes out on Friday on Apple TV. It's called Loot, Loot.
Oh my God. I see billboards for that all the time and get so excited with Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph. It's going to be great. It's Maya Rudolph, MJ Rodriguez, Joel Kim Booster, Nat Faxon, Ron Funches. I'm very, very, very excited about it. The first 3 episodes drop Friday, and then it's weekly every Friday.
And it's loosely based off of... No, we can't talk about that.
No.
Okay.
There's coincidental similarities.
Yeah, there's some similarities.
There's some parallels to people in the world, but
no, it's a great show. It's a workplace comedy. It's a incredible, awesome group of people. Maya Rudolph obviously kills it. She's so talented. It's created by Matt Hubbard and Alan Yang, and they're just creme de la creme of the comedy world. I'm very, very excited about it.
Well, congrats.
Thank you. I saw a couple episodes. It's stunning. It sounds great. They're so funny. Maya kills it, obviously.
And it comes out on Friday. Apple TV.
Yep.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Tell your parents, tell your neighbors, tell your kids.
Where else can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Nick Lehmann, and then in Twitter and TikTok, Nick Stop Talking. But I keep talking. I just keep going.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com. Cast with a K. We are back tomorrow with a very funny and very delightful Hannah Berner for our Going Deeper episode. We talk about so much, I can't even possibly recap it. You just don't want to miss it. That much, I promise you.
Oh my God. It's dynamic. There's banter. It's exciting.
It's wonderful.
Electrifying.
Love banter.
Love it. So the people who listen to podcasts.
Yes.
I hope.
Banter, hopefully, is the number one reason that you're here.
Nothing else. Thanks for listening. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos, like our Mondays Ask Nick, especially if you're looking for some relationship stories and relationship advice, as well as our Wednesday interviews with your favorite celebrities and experts. See you next time.